The world is moving towards renewable energy. It's absolutely critical that we use as many renewables as possible so that we can reduce emissions, provide better sustainability for all our energy sources, and help to move towards electrification.
We have a lot of technologies now that bring a number of benefits, both in terms of electricity and in terms of other social and environmental benefits.
I think that almost everybody is now recognizing that as part of your business model, you really need to work with the First Peoples and to not just pay lip service to it. It's got to be a genuine relationship with genuine benefits for everybody.
BluEarth is built on the premise that there are these renewable fuels available, the sun, water, but also the wind, and they will be there forever. There is tremendous efficiency in using them to generate electricity. So we are here because we believe that we can do it at scale and at a cost that helps people through the energy transition that we're all living through. My name is Grant Arnold. I'm President and CEO of BluEarth Renewables. BluEarth Renewables is an electricity generator. We build, own, and operate wind, hydro, and solar facilities in North America. Low impact electricity in what we do in wind, hydro, and solar is not only having no emissions during operations, but we have minimal impact to the environment around us during construction. Colton Creek is a run-of-river hydro plant. It is different from traditional hydro plants in that there is no dam. We take what we get, we run it down the hill, we capture that and divert it briefly through a facility that spins turbines at the bottom of the hill that then generate electricity, and we put the water back in a very low impact fashion. That electricity is sold locally to the grid, which in this case is operated by the province of British Columbia and used within the province. This plant is 15 megawatts, which is providing power for the rough equivalent of 6,000 homes, and it'll run for decades and decades and decades.
Traditional dams are not as sustainable as run-of-river for the reason they can displace communities, they can have very negative impacts on local biodiversity, and also they can lead to a lot of emissions associated with methane that is produced through the disturbance of the vegetation of large dams. Run-of-river hydro has less negative impacts associated with displacement of people or generally less negative impact on local biodiversity.
This was a traditional hunting and gathering area for people of the Squamish Nation, the set of peoples that have lived here for thousands of years. This was an area where, especially fishing, some hunting, but a lot of gathering was done by people. The Indigenous peoples of Canada are the original peoples, and we owe them respect and honor in any projects that we do. The land is so important to the people here that when we're doing something as impactful as putting a project on, it's very important to us to establish a relationship with the First Nation in whose territory that project is going to be placed.
When they heat up at the rock, it looks really red, right?
We approached them very early on the project, before we'd even had a full design, and asked how they would like to work with us on this project. We established an implementation committee, and on that implementation committee was an elder, a counselor, an employment person from the nation, as well as myself and the project developer. And we met every month to go over everything, to establish targets for employment, and to make sure that we were finding the right contractors from nation sources that we could use that would help out with the project.
There's about over 4,000 members in our nation. On the Squamish Nation, we always talk about the land is the culture and the culture is the land. We live off the land. To go through a cultural understanding and having that committee together avoids a cultural misunderstanding. We've met with BluEarth a number of years ago. We sat down and we've talked about employment, training, education, naming, recognition, and bringing revenue for the nation. We talk about the grizzly bear habitat. We talk about the fishery, the spawning. I know that they're going to take care of it for our nation, for our children and our children's children. Just wanted to thank everyone for coming out on a beautiful day today.
The benefits to the Squamish Nation of this project were not only a royalty that they will earn from our revenues every year, but also employment and contracting. We had a number of nation-owned contractors who did things from security to brushing and planting, as well as a great number of workers on site. Total, we had about 13% of the workforce was from Squamish Nation, and that's from over 200,000 worker hours. Squamish traditions and customs were incorporated into the project, the main part by the artwork on a powerhouse building. This artwork represents the ancestors, water, land, animals, Mother Earth. For me personally, it's a passion that we respect the people whose traditional lands that we work on and live on. It just makes perfect sense that we work with them to do these things.
Renewable energy can be a really big contributor to energy security because it's a local form of energy. It doesn't require importing of fuels that may be subject to international prices. A more decentralized energy system can bring a lot of benefits. It can also create a more resilient system overall. We know we have all the technologies we need to decarbonize our economies. And these technologies are increasingly affordable, sometimes and quite often now more affordable than the higher fossil fuel alternative.
Renewables, wind, hydro, and solar are an absolute key part of Canada's energy future. People will consume energy forever, and if we can generate it forever with low impact, there is no better story.